I guess how I came to do this was I'm a former staffed events guy, and everybody at every conference has talked about the need for video. I heard 5 people walking out here as I got started that said, I've heard enough about video already. And it's been happening for 3 years already. I thought we were late to the game, and we're still early. There's a million people that have excellent advice about how to use video, how to conquest with video, but when it comes to how to actually produce the videos, how to make the videos, and more importantly, why to make the videos, there's not a lot out there. So just some obvious things here. I know everybody else has been pounding on these, but significant advantages to video. You never pay to broadcast your message. Most dealers are stuck in a paradigm where they produce a $500 commercial and spend $15,000 to show it to people. And it doesn't make sense when customers are looking as hard as they are for content. It helps your website perform, obviously. I'm not going to get too much into all the different ways to trick the website into super performing. But without the nitrous, if you just stick it there, it'll do all right. It builds value in your process, just like anything else. It's something that the customer sees as relevant. When you interrupt the customer trying to watch TV with a $99 payment, they may or may not find that as relevant. When they're on your site trying to find information about a product you sell, you're not interrupting the conversation. It's a relevant conversation to have, and it builds value. Most dealers in here, fixed ops guys, have problems with consistency on every front, whether every department, in every way. With video, you watch your presentation that you want to have going out to that customer. You don't give up on it until you love it. And then when you hit go, it does it every single time, middle of the night, middle of the day, for free, forever. Consistency is the name of the game with video, and it allows you to bottle exactly what you want your brand image to look like and ship it to the world. It's an enhanced perception of value. Videos that are made in an intelligent way look a lot more expensive than they are. I don't know how else to put it, but people are used to, a lot more money than it takes to make a well-produced video. I'm not talking about, a handy cam, but still a lot less money can go into it if you've put the right thought into it ahead of time. And lastly, optimize your third-party listings. I've heard a lot of people mention that. Customers don't love price, dealers love price. Obviously, it's the only thing we allow customers to compare us based on 90% of the time. By putting alongside your price a reason to buy from you, the effect of that is pretty obvious. And then last here, why pay more per impression every time when you want to talk to your customers when they're willing and eager to watch custom videos for free? So the best part of web messages, just quickly, 30 seconds doesn't leave much time to tell people why. So you get stuck with your intro, your outro, and 10 seconds about a price, and it feels a lot like a commercial that they've seen before. In 2 minutes, you have a chance to really make a whole sales thought. I don't know anybody in here that's a decent closer that ever told somebody that they were going to give them more on their payment or more for their trade and didn't include some kind of story as to why. Because it doesn't make any sense unless you can tell somebody the whole picture. Hey, because of our volume, we're able to take in more trades than anybody in town. We have several locations that we can get rid of these trades at. And for that reason alone, I'm able to put that extra couple $100 into your trade to make the difference. That's a trade close, and that's the difference between a web message and a TV message. It's not a claim, it's an entire sales thought that you can bring home, deliver, move on to the next video. So the whole point for us of these web messages isn't to put them places, it's to leave them places and leave them there with the intent to sell, sell, sell. So like I said, my experience in the auto industry came from doing staffed events. I was the guys that came with the balloons and everything else and dealt with customers all week long. So one of the things that you learn really quickly doing staffed events is that, I don't know how familiar you guys are, but they come wanting to win a car, not necessarily wanting to buy a car. So there's absolutely not one deal that gets done in a staffed event week where you don't give somebody a reason to buy. They don't show up with it prepackaged. So you'll learn quickly that people don't buy what you think they would buy. They buy 90 days before their first payment, or they buy you doing a trade allowance on their trade, or a million other ideas. So it's with that philosophy that I want to talk about video, is using the video to build a virtual showroom that doesn't give up on a sales up at any particular time, just like you could in a staffed event lot when I got out and said, I'm not here to buy a car, and work that deal to the fullest all the way through. So it's not about using video to market, not about using video to be seen. It's not about using video to conquest, it's about using video to sell and using the exact same premise that you use on the lot and the things that you've already proven in the dealership and installing them by producing your own videos or having somebody produce videos that are on message for you. So in traveling, I've probably been to, I think at one point I had earned a paycheck in 41 of the US states doing staffed events. So some of the things I learned about a core functioning principle of a dealership that always in place at a dealership that's rocking. The ads are effective, creative, And most importantly, they stand out in a crowd. Even if they're not good, if you laid 10 on the ground, they'd be the one you would notice. The salespeople are always well trained, and they put effort into the training, and they're always able to offer reasons to see the value in they offer. A good sales guy, you walk up to him and say that the guy's car is $500, he doesn't panic, he does a stock walk. It's the only thing you have left. Price is always avoided on the lot, and the traffic is always brought inside the showroom. I don't know how many guys remember their first day or girls, but that didn't seem to make any sense at all. They said they only wanted a blue one. I don't understand why we're bringing them inside. And as you become a little bit more groomed in the business, you understand everything that happens inside, where you're able to isolate their objections, slow the customer down, build a little value in what's already going on, and close the deal. And so we're trying to do the same thing with video. Lastly, they build as much value as possible in the dealership, whether it's events they've done, things they have coming up, awards they've won. It's a constant part of the conversation aside from just price. The managers and closers go in for some kind of a bump on every deal. It's never just okay. There's always $15 there, or at least, can you give me 3 referrals? There's always something else to pursue. The leads and contacts that don't close immediately are followed up with vigorously. Great salespeople can't stand the idea of somebody else delivering their customer. That's the only reason I followed up. I would rather take the next up, but I just couldn't stand the thought that somebody I was driving around with yesterday was in somebody else's finance box that day. And dealerships that function that way always outperform dealerships that don't. So the question I'm going to pose is, are your website funnels really that different than your actual sales process? It's extremely easy to separate the two, but perhaps they shouldn't be. If you look at what we did in the staffed event business, it was a step-by-step system between taking somebody out of their car, putting them in a test drive, writing them up, delivering the number, pushing them for referrals. And at every step, you were only selling that step because you didn't have a car deal until you got there anyways. So with the internet, people say that the internet doesn't sell cars because it doesn't do it on its own, but the funnels that are there are actually really similar. So that's basically what my presentation is about today, is I want to help you guys compare what a good functioning lot looks like and what a website looks like when you make that analogy of how they actually operate with follow-up systems, lead response systems, presentation of the product, discussion of the price or lack thereof. Your website has a lot of the same problems as your store does. The only difference is you can fix them once and forget about it and they're done right, and you can actually get it done and it's affordable. Getting your actual sales guys to do something different, not as easy. So the answer is no. The only difference between the finished product is the end result. With your brick and mortar dealership, the goal is to deliver a car. And in the digital space, the goal is to land an appointment. Other than that, you're going to find that the funnel is really, really similar. So like I said before, I want to talk about video not to market, not to conquest or dominate or get hits or even be more visible, but just to sell that very next person that's on your site wanting to buy something that you sell. So too many times video is able to be reduced into millions of searches or thousands of applicants, or none of that matters, or more importantly, cost per 1,000 views in marketing. The only way dealers know how to look at their website is from 10,000 feet. They have no real investment in getting into the business of what happened with each up. I talk to dealers for, essentially on the phone all day, and one of my favorite things to say to them after we've jabbered for 20 minutes is, since we've started talking, or put it this way, if you saw right now a person come on your lot, get a price, avoid everything that was about your store and leave, you would flip out. But there's been 15 of those buyers on your website since we've been haggling that have had exactly that experience, and you're just going to go home tonight. Doesn't make any sense. So first, let me paint a picture of an ineffective dealership. Right? Everybody's either worked at one of these or knows something about one of these. So the ads are not personal, not creative, and they don't stand out. The salespeople are not well trained, and they believe everything the customer tells them. Price is always discussed on the lot, and the traffic is rarely brought inside the showroom unless it looks pretty likely to be a deal. Otherwise, they don't want to waste their time. The dealership doesn't have a sales process. Every deal is different. The managers, closers, rarely ever attempt to add value or offer some type of bump. They ask you what you got, and then they decide if they want it. The leads and the contacts that don't close immediately are immediately assumed to have already bought elsewhere. So I'm going to paint an analogy here. Let's say that those issues aren't the only problem. The problem is actually pretty simple, because they would be all right with all that, but it's that they're not selling cars. So, and this is the conversation that 99% of people who talk about video have had with you. This guy. So a man comes with a solution. and he has a new plan. He has invented a new thingy, and it's going to drive traffic to your website. And he says you can pay him, and he'll put so many people on your lot that you won't have to slow people down anymore. You won't have to do TOs, no more lot parties, you won't have to avoid price or train your staff, and you'll never have to think about following up. All your problems are fixed because he can stuff your lot. So most of the GMs that I've met in my life wouldn't see that as being the problem, and they certainly wouldn't see that as being the solution. Closing percentage will always outrun ability to get a lot of hits, especially when you're talking about thousands of hits. So most people I know would clean house in the dealership first. I hear it from GMs all the time. We're going digital right now. I love your product, but we're not ready for it yet. Because that's everyone's philosophy. They have to get their thing right, and then they're ready to capitalize on it. With the website, they're paying people to capitalize on it when it doesn't function as it is. It's like opening your lot on Blue Sundays and somewhere in Chicago and bragging about the hundreds of ups you got on a Sunday when there was no salespeople and the cars were locked and nobody demoed anything and then they just left. Traffic isn't the whole key. You got to have a hammer. You got to have somebody to go out there and slow that customer down, build value in your process, and ask for the deal. And I feel like the vendors that are out there are not video producers. They know how to capitalize, but all of them tell dealers, show me when you get these videos, and I'll help you rock them. But there isn't a connection to what videos to make, where to make them, how to make them. So, again, closing percentage is what I like to focus on with our clients. It's what we talk about, is that single up. And when they do hit your website, what are we showing them? Are you giving a better presentation than the enemy? And are you impressing that customer? And is there reasons to buy in there? And a reason to buy, and I think somebody else said this earlier, isn't a $200 payment versus a $300 payment. That's a payment difference. A reason to buy is I'm closer to you, we have 3 service loaners, what's in it for me? I have that conversation, we're building a new BDC with my guys all the time. Don't ever say something to a dealer that's not what's in it for them. Don't email me back. Let me email you back so I get you the information you were looking for. So there should always be something for the customer of why they should be doing business with you in your presentation. Think about all the videos that you've been shown at these conferences. Have any of them really attempted to do that? They might compare a vehicle to another vehicle. There might be a testimonial, and that kind of does that. But has there really been presentations that says, if you buy from me, you'll have definitely the cleanest car around. Let me show you what our detailed process is like. If you buy from me, our guys are so well trained that you'll have a one-of-a-kind experience. And don't take my word for it. Listen to 5 customers that had that experience. Those are the videos that essentially we build as a company, and we have dealers that use them. And when you look at their website, I don't even have dealers that ask for stats, because if you look at their website, you're like, oh yeah, that would work, because you're talking about people. People look at that, it's better clearly, offers more reason, so it's just like anything else. To show up at a dealership, if you get a better walk around, better reason to buy, you're more likely to buy from a dealership that didn't have those things. So, Sean showed yesterday the Peterbilt thing. It's a good example of being able to throw together a video and get it to go not just where it belongs, but wherever you want it to. So, if you have these videos made with intent, you can force them in front of the customer's eyes. But there is a but. Is like he said, Robert Weissman. He just taught all you guys how to do it yesterday. He's going to be somewhere else teaching people how to do it years from now. At some point, people will figure this out. So what I want to see is if I gave him $1,000, who's a competitor to Peterbilt? Anybody? Kenworth. To put a Kenworth video in front of it, I bet he could do that too. So what's going to happen when somebody else does that? Or what's going to happen when you do that and your competitors do that, and so do their competitors and some other competitors? Because it's the only way to do business, like he said. It doesn't make sense not to. But saying I have the top responding lead out of 3 million, well, 2.99 of those are crap. You know, it's the top 10, and there's nobody else trying. So when you have 10 people trying, it's going to come down to which of those videos was the most impressive, which one of those lubricated the sales process the most, which one of those sold, just the same way it is. Well, that's like in vending, having your guy be the only one to do the walk around. But when you know eventually they're going to get a walk around from everyone in town, you start to need to focus on how well your walk around looks compared to the other guys, and not just the fact that you're able to give it. I don't think you should be making videos if you don't know where to put them, like he's talking about, but you're quickly entering a world where you're not going to be the only one that knows how to do that. And that trick alone won't sell cars. So it's a very important question to have a good answer for, which is, what are you doing with the person's attention once you have it? So there's a million people who can talk about how to get it, but what do you do then? My favorite analogy, closer that I used to work for used to say this about everything, but he said it was like a dog chasing a car. What do you do when you catch it? The dealers are so damn excited to get the next up, or even willing to sacrifice that up's experience for SEO to get the next up, but they don't have a clue what to do when that person hits and wants to buy a Volvo that they sell. They freak out. So, do you see a pattern here? This was pertaining to the ineffective dealership. So let's look at our own websites and correlate some of these to how websites work, and be honest. Third-party listings, the things you pay money for to get people to look at vehicles, they're not optimized with relevant video, and they don't stand out. They look just like everybody else's out there. The website, it doesn't attempt to change anyone's mind. It just shows them what they want. Does it compare? If somebody looks at a new car on there, does you have a chat box that pops up, offers them a used car payment? Things like that happen on your website? Or do you just let them do what they want and leave? The same thing that made perfect sense to do on your first day taking ups on the lot. Your listings and VDPs can focus completely on price rather than on a better buying experience. Somebody says, hey, I'm interested in a Corolla, and you say it's $18.99 and not, this is the best place to buy a Corolla. You don't have response packages with video built into your CRM prospecting tools. This isn't just pre-sale, this is post-sale, 90 days after the sale. Hey, I know it's been 2 years. Why are those videos not created in your CRM going out to every customer that bought a car 2 years ago? You talk about having a hard time getting your salespeople to prospect. Guess who will prospect great for you? Your CRM. You build that video as the GM, you make that message, and your CRM will deliver it perfectly thousands of times a year on time to the right email address, and it'll never miss a day of work or ask for a paycheck. Well, I guess you already paid it. So the website doesn't talk about why to buy from your dealership, just how much, which you'll see this all the time. It's all the way through the funnel is price, 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 price. Now, obviously, customers respond to price, but has anybody read the exit polls after a car is purchased? I'm sure everyone's heard this, where price is number 5 and the salesperson is number 1. It's clear in the real world that experience matters. Why would we think it just suddenly doesn't matter online? It's because we look at it in this cost per thousands paradigm like it's a stock, instead of 5,000 buying opportunities that we only have a 1/5 chance at because there's 5 dealerships in the area. So your video remarketing strategy either doesn't exist or doesn't attract buyers. I'm going to emphasize that again. Your video remarketing strategy. Probably everybody but Joel is saying, what? YouTube allows you to do that. You have to plant a cookie and they can't erase their browser. If they hit your browser, you got them. If they hit a Fiesta video, you can remarket them about Fiestas with video. Every time there's an opportunity to remarket, there's a live auction, and you're bidding for that person's attention. You now know, because they hit your website, and that's only open for 2 days, that they're an in-market buyer. No one else knows that. So you're bidding against Sprite and Doritos for 6-7 cents of an impression, and you're talking to an in-market buyer. So you can pay 6 cents or 10 cents to bring them back to the website, or even $1 per click, or you can buy them back from Cars.com for 75 bucks a week later. So is it any wonder that people think the internet doesn't sell cars? A process like that doesn't sell anything. It just shows things. It's me, day 3. I was having fun, though. So let's talk about how to use videos to build a presence that truly sells its ass off. When you see an up on your lot and you're the owner of the store, the only thing you care about is who's he with? Derek? Yes. Tom? Shit. And that's the same idea with the website. You should feel that way about a website that's not doing a good job. So let's go function by function over how to build video products that are automated and will fix these individual areas of your digital process one by one. And this is the probably most important part here. Keep in mind, everything I'm about to show you is completely automated. So not only do you do it once and it works forever, but you don't pay anybody every time it works. Anybody. This is the solar panel of branding. You do this, you build it, it feeds you forever. So this isn't a solution to the digital problem. I think comprehensive quality video is the solution. So what customers are already on your website looking for? So one at a time, third-party listings do not optimize with relevant video, and they don't stand out. So AutoTrader does a terrible job of telling you guys this. Every single time that you pay to list a vehicle on AutoTrader, you also pay to list 4 relevant videos. And the tool that you use on AutoTrader to sort that relevant video is the exact same tool you use to search for a car. You're pretty familiar with it. So this means you can, for example, we've made a We Know Muscle Cars video for Smoky Point Dodge, amongst 20 other ones. And he's able to go on to his AutoTrader and say, upload this video and pair this video with every vehicle I sell for the next year that has a 5.0 liter motor or bigger. And the video is, folks, we love muscle cars. We know muscle cars. We not only stock them and work hard to keep them in stock, but we can answer the questions about the cars we have and help you compare them to cars that we don't have. Not only that, the guys here that are going to take that up, they drive muscle cars, they love muscle cars, and they like going fast on the test drive. Don't buy a muscle car if somebody doesn't see how cool it is that you're buying a muscle car. And then they remarket to that. So at that point, whether it's a used car, whether it's a new car, if that thing has a 5.0 liter V8 or bigger, they're getting that video instantly. Instantly. So let me paint a picture. You take a trade in, you put it into the CRM, AutoTrader throws it out there before the picture guy even gets there to take a picture of it. But guess what's already on there? 4 relevant videos. An example of that, every single AutoTrader search starts right here. I kind of moved around the way it works, but essentially like this, 6 or 7 of those listings are the exact same. You search for an Escape in one area, and this is what you get. Keep in mind, we're not talking about paying AutoTrader more money. This is just something you could do with 2 hours of your time, which is insane. So every single time a customer now searches for a Ford in your area, you see this right here? Hang on. For the sake of dramatic purpose. 10 videos, 15 videos, who cares? Or I'm sorry, photos. 4 videos. Curiosity killed the cat. People think that they're doing homework on the second biggest purchase that they've ever made. They're there for information. They don't know what information, but they feel like they have to get some before they can stop. That's why they keep going. You're going to find 2 things to be true about AutoTrader. It is almost always going to return the listing to the closest to the searcher or the cheapest to the searcher. Because right now, that's the 2 things the searcher is interested in. Closest, cheapest. Can't control being the closest. And being the cheapest is like winning through losing, right? The third thing that they're going to respond to is curiosity killed the cat, the one with the most content, because they're there to do homework. They're still a shopper. They're not a buyer in their mind. So they're going to always open up those 3 windows. Not always. Don't hold me to that. A lot of times they will. So they're going to open up the closest, the cheapest, and they're going to open up the one with the most content. When you have 4 videos like this, it almost doesn't even matter what they are because the amount you pay AutoTrader to have people open a listing that has your phone number on it will be the same and the amount of opens you get will almost double. You could put cat videos on there. Why wouldn't you? It's going to get people to open it up, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense not to. The fact that you can sync them and code them, make a video about a yellow car. You love yellow cars? I love yellow cars. My wife drives a yellow car. You're looking to buy a yellow car? Come to me. I'll save you $500. Come see me personally. I'd rather have that on there than nothing. So that just shows you that there's people that are maybe not telling you everything there is to know because most dealers get their information from vendors, and vendors tell dealers about things they can sell them. This is all stuff that you can do. This is all about owning your own garden. This isn't paying someone to come mow your yard. This is starting your own garden. The website doesn't attempt to change anyone's mind. It just shows them what they already want. So the salespeople aren't trained and believe everything the customer tells them. So let's talk quickly about the website. So your lot sells cars because the inside of your building is very sticky, right? How many deals have you worked on the lot in the last few years? Probably not a lot. Video helps make your website just as sticky. So you can tell and show customers exactly why they should spend their money with you, and by being unique and providing more value than the other guy right up front. So customers are shopping for value. Price is a factor, major component, but that's not what they're out looking for, because they can tell that as soon as they hit search. Below is an example of how to feature our custom walkarounds within your main site. So this is just a little slider that we built. So just ask yourself, what's on your site now? What is in the mind of the consumer? And would a watch our custom video we created for every model with the license plate on the car, your signage, your branding, your people, drop downs of your building, and an offer of that custom content for every vehicle that you sell. Would that slow a customer down? Now, it might not stop them, but it'll certainly slow them down. So banners and sliders. Paul can probably speak to this better than anybody with the heat maps, but those are often some of the least utilized per inch spaces on your entire website. Most dealers are using these sliders and banners. So per inch is the least, and why? Because dealers use them to advertise, and people hate advertising. The difference between content and advertising is the difference between what's in it for you and what's in it for them. That's the difference. Keep it simple. Advertising is when you have the conversation you want to have. Content is when you have the conversation that they want to have. So these are custom videos that we made for Evergreen Ford. We make these for everybody. The training, number one concern of a new car buyer. We detail, number one concern of a pre-owned buyer. Testimonials, and then this shopping new cars here is a new car department video that we made for them. So if these are the banners that are sliding by, And because people look at them, they just don't click them. The heat map for the eyes does really well. Heat map for the mouse, not so good. So people are watching those fly by, they're just not interested in them. And guess how many get to fly by before they're not interested in the next 5? 2, that's it. 2 boring ones, you're done. So by asking them a question, I guess, this is important for all of the marketing that we do. This is almost what makes it content. I started off my sales career selling coloring books and knives and crap out of a bag, right? And at one point I sold a purple bear clock. It was purple, had bears on it. I actually sold them as Frisbees for $5 for a while. But one of the things that I would start to open that conversation is, hey, do you love purple? As I come storming in your store. And God forbid you said yes, next thing you know, you're holding a purple bear clock, and it almost makes sense because you said you liked purple. I didn't mean to interrupt. If you'd have said no, I'd have left you alone. So it's always best to start with a question, because if the answer is yes, now that the follow-up offer is contextually relevant. You guys see where I'm going with that? So in digital marketing, it's like an opt-in. Hey, you looking for the best deal around? Yeah. All right, cool, check this out. So with these banners being put in there, he runs them a little faster than you would an ordinary banner because he wants you to see. Now, even if you don't click on these banners, what's he told you by the time 4 of those have slid by? I spent the coin to put up the social proof, like the old, where you flip through all the people write about you. It's called the evidence manual. It's like a virtual evidence manual. So as these 4 flip by me, I know he's got a full-blown testimonial. I know he's got a new car video, this department video. So even if I don't click on those, do you feel like he's picking up some value from putting those out there? Like in the back of your mind, are you thinking, man, maybe he probably got some clean cars? You go into that VDP page with a little bit different perception about those cars being listed. Most customers do, and keep in mind, your website closes 1% of the traffic. So we're not talking about impressing 50 people. We're talking about impressing an extra 1 out of 100 would double the amount of leads you get off your website. Just keep that in mind. We close 1% now. We're not talking about killing it yet. So 1 out of 100 people that this moves. We got, maybe 10 heads nodding here. That'd be enough to be 30 over the cost of 100. We only need 1. So this is Evergreen's site when you put it all together. You hit their landing page looking for a car. You want to have a conversation about price and about models. They want to have a conversation about the custom content that they created on every model so they can take some time with their branding, their plates on the car to show you why to buy from them and not what to buy from them. Because that conversation is one you can't win. Why to buy from one you can. And the full-blown testimonial at the top that says, here from another recent Evergreen Ford customer. Don't take my word for it. I'm Mr. Dealer. You don't trust me anyways. Here's a full, highly produced testimonial that's ready to help you establish your brand value. The first motto we had as a company was the quality of your videos directly reflect the quality of your brand or business. I see $10 million Lexus buildings, and if you go on their YouTube, nothing's made, nothing's sorted, there's no pictures of the building, and everything's like this. What sense does that make? If I've never been to your building, I don't know that you have a $10 million building. You don't look like it to me. So we're not talking about just making any videos, but we're talking about making videos that you can put your brand behind and then put right up front and let everybody see. And that way when somebody sees that video, we call it reflective value. It says something about you. I think if I stood here in 1960 and told you guys as a group of dealers that I could sell you 30-foot gorillas, bear with me, you could inflate them and put them on your roof and it'll make customers buy cars. You guys would have laughed me out of here. But reflective value is a funny thing. I don't know why a gorilla makes somebody stop in at one store on a Saturday versus another, but it does. And this is the same thing. This tells somebody I've invested a little more to show you that I'm a little better, a little bigger, and did a little more to get your business, reached a little further than the other guy. And it says something about who you are just to flash some bucks. That's why all the vendors do it. It says you're successful. Well, to a consumer, you're a vendor. Show them your bucks. Show them that you've invested in their customer experience and that you are aware of what you're sending out. Not to pick on Carmercial, but they might conquest like crazy, but when I run across a video with 2 views and there's 50 of them on the same page, it doesn't make me want to buy a car. So I don't know philosophically what they might do to get you to first on the SEO rank, but I know when I was shagging ups and somebody told me that they were going to buy a car today, they were going to stop 4 places and I was the first one, I didn't give them a high five. I want to be the last ad somebody sees before they buy a car. I don't want to spend all my ad budget racing to be the first. Doesn't make any sense. They're going to shop for either way. They're out for information. They're not looking to stumble into a trap like a drunk bear. It doesn't work that way. They're going to look for places whether you like it or not. That's how they see the world. So all you got to do is win. If you stop fighting that and just look at your 3 competitors daily and beat them, then that's a really good thing for you. If you want to hide behind trying to have a crappy presence but doubling the amount of hits, then that person is going to dominate you when they start to dial up their closing percentage, because any marketing effort that they throw at it is going to find success. So your listings and VDPs focus entirely on price rather than a better buying experience. Imagine if every one of your vehicles popped out to reveal that. So this is on a used car, even more powerful on a new car, because there's no difference in a car you get from an old Tony Wren and Evergreen Ford and when you get from old Pierre Ford 20 miles away. So there's literally no difference other than the content he provides. On a used car, it's the same thing. So he and I actually sat there and did this one with him because it was early days, set this Auto Trader up. We got Jody from Auto Trader, his rep came out, took us 45 minutes. 45 minutes. Think about the effort you put into different things in your dealership. 45 minutes, we uploaded the 18 videos or whatever that were part of his series, and we told them where to go. And now, when Tony Wren pays to list a car, it looks like that when the customer sees it. He doesn't even bother, he's talking about canceling his pictures now, because pictures don't really get traction on new cars. But if you can offer that type of content, and now, actually, I have a guy picking up the check as we speak. Tony just bought somebody else passed on it, and he got the 14 walkarounds for Ford from us. So he's about to have added to that all the walkarounds. So on a new car, you'd have the walkaround, new car video, testimonial, and the We Train Spotlight video. That tells the customer, hey, you interested in this? So am I. I already made a custom video for it. You want a one-of-a-kind buying experience because you see yourself as a shopper so far, not a buyer? No worries. Look at the effort we put into training our staff, not only on our product, but the competitors. You worried that maybe this is all marketing? Listen to a couple of our recent buyers and check their experience. Decide if you trust them. Having that be the conversation at this point in Auto Trader closes. Now remember what I said earlier, they're going to open up 3. If one of them is the cheapest, he's got a good strong case. One of them is the closest, he's got a decent case also, but you're clearly the best. 100% hands down every time. So not only are they going to open up you because you're the best, but they're going to open not the second and third best, but the closest and the cheapest as your competitors. So you can dominate this space, and I have dealers that are doing this. If you guys go to dealerelite.net, you're going to see Matt Welch's picture up there. Cobalt's repping him like crazy because they can compare his stats to all their other dealers, and all of his conversion stats are insane. If you click to watch that 1-hour video about how Matt does this and become the face of Cobalt because of his digital stats, the answer to every single question they ask him is video. How do you do that? Video. How did your VDPs convert so well? I don't understand how he said something about how that was a confidence area for him. He said, well, I know my VDPs are maxed out. I have the most listings, they're relevant, and my competitors don't do that. So I know when people are out looking at cars that I'm going to catch a fair share of it. So I can track my weekend sales by my Friday VDPs. So they ask him all this stuff, but it's an hour-long thing. If you check it out, the answer he gives for every single how he's the leader of the digital world is video. Because it's the only thing that works every time, and it doesn't suck anything out of his ad budget. And he's the guy that tracks every single up. Like, he's the owner and the GM. And if you ask him, like, what his bounce rate was in May, he's going to have 3 different sheets, like, automatically organized, and he tracks every single digital up like it was already an opportunity in the store. And he gets mad when he doesn't close them. Where are we at time-wise here? Phone dead. Anybody know? 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Plenty of time. So, and the last one is, you don't have response packages with video built into your CRM and your prospecting tools. So we had talked about this before. I had a hard time kind of plugging these in as an example. I can show you these when I get through with the slide here if you'd like. But let me just give you a few ideas of what we've done with these. Because this can literally become a whole store. There's really not a limit on how detailed, I guess, you could get with building out your CRM to have a conversation with a customer. So the very first one is the response to the lead. When dealers get a lead in and respond back with anything other than personal value, they're missing the ball. And I think everyone you've heard here that's been somewhat successful has talked about that, about how they kind of make it more personal when they respond, whether it's a video from them or about the product or whatever it may be. So one of the products that we have that we've made, and I could jump onto YouTube and show it, but it's so slow that you can see it on our website anytime. But so, for example, we would go into a dealership and make a new car video, a used car video. We detail spotlight video, we know trucks, we train, a couple testimonials, and about maybe like a facility overview if it's a newer building, and they end up with 12 or 13 of these guys. So then we make a video from the GM, and one of the roles that we identify when we're shooting videos is the buck stops here guy. So we want every dealership that we enter to find that guy who's going to be able to kind of have that tone of buck stops with me. You know, it'll go well if it goes. So we have the manager type, and he jumps on, and just imagine you're a customer, and you put out a lead, and you get 3 of these back. Now keep in mind, this goes out to that customer instantly. He doesn't think about it. It happens every time. He just takes it for granted that it'll happen. So bam, they get a video. We've A/B tested it to death, and the best way to do it is a picture of that video, like a snipped picture, with a hyperlink to the video. You don't want to include the whole video, obviously. That'll give you the lowest bounce rate and give you the highest engagement. So bam, open up the video. 2 things have just happened. They've just auto-enrolled into his video remarketing campaign. Huge, huge value. And 2, he's got him. He's got him locked into this video that says it's 2.5 minutes long, but it offers through annotation all the other videos that he's offered. So let me give you a schwack at how this sounds. So it's like, hey, I'm Matt Welch, owner and operator of Auburn Volkswagen. I know you guys have more options than ever today in the digital space, so please take a moment and check out the content that we created to show you a little bit about our people, our process, and our staff so you can make the best decision available. So whether you're looking for a new car video, and it goes shoo, or a used car video, shoo, just click on the one you're interested in and check out the custom content that we created. Gives it 3 or 4 seconds. It's an either-or option, and they're opting into either his used remarketing channel or his new remarketing channel by deciding. Then it goes on to the next. So thanks for taking a look at those. Now check out the department statements, or the brand statements that we made about our excellent commitment to in-store training, so our staff can provide you a one-of-a-kind experience, and our step-by-step breakdown of our detail and inspection process that we do on every used car that comes on the lot. Shoo, shoo, music, gives them a few seconds. But I wouldn't expect you to take my word for it, because I'm the dealer. Listen to a couple recent testimonials that we put together with some satisfied customers that have bought just recently. Shoo, 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 gives them 3 of them. Man, woman, couple. He lets them pick those. And then he says, in the meantime, then he says, well, one of our customer representatives will be with you shortly. But in the meantime, we also created a custom video for every model that we sell. So just click on the model that you're interested in and enjoy. Thanks for your business, and somebody with you shortly. That goes out every single time. I mean, imagine what that would do for your showroom to be able to have the owner, the GM, burst out of his office every time somebody showed a little bit of interest and tell him, hey, I'm going to take care of you. That we've been here for 20 years, and all that great stuff that comes out of the owner's mouth, right? You can do that for every single internet up. And we spend 99% of our time focused on what happens within the showroom and the dozen people that are in there. And we forget about the 10,000, 15,000 people that come streaming across our buying platforms of different digital spaces every single month, and no one really takes 2 thoughts at it. And these are videos, once again, that you're not paying somebody to do anything other than create for you. Once you have them, they're your assets to do with as you please. You play them on TV. I have tons of our clients that once we go in and talk to all these testimonials to produce the videos we do produce, we leave them with the testimonials, they give it to their ad agency, and they snip 15, 30 seconds out of their 30-second spots out of there in like 10 minutes, and they run them on TV, just little 15-second snippets. So content is king, and there's no end to what you can do with it once you have it. Let me give you another example, service. Service is a really difficult area to engage with customers because you don't have that same sort of interaction. There's not the same level of commission. The follow-up structure isn't there. So you talk about a place where every dealership could improve its service. There's always more growth to be found. There's more ways to contact the customers, more ways to build loyalty. And it's a conversation that a lot of people don't have because it takes that bandwidth within the dealership to get people to do it and to do it every time and to do it every day, right? When you convert that process and that expectation process to video, you convert not only the worry of it ever not happening, but the cost of it happening. It happens automatically. Hell, you can put ads on these videos and they'll pay you a few cents. So with service, I don't know how many people have heard of Drive Velocity, but they're a CRM company that contacted us, and they were signing up clients left and right. But every time they signed up a client, they needed the client to have video before they could help them. So then the client would go, well, what do I do? And then he would get stalled in his installation process. So he contacted us, and this is something that we have a patent on this idea of switching the plates on the car. So we do the same thing with these service videos. So we switch a poster behind him, and we switch his name tag. So they're all a series that's already syndicated that we sell, that we can brand it to any store in the country. They put it into the CRM, and it's everything that Drive Velocity gave us, like their checklist. So it's your happy birthday videos. You were in 120 days ago. You were in the other day. You turned down an oil flush. I wanted to let you know a little bit about that oil or that transmission flush that we recommended the other day. What's involved with that service and why we recommended it. Boom, boom, boom. Goes out immediately when somebody turns down a upsell in the service department. So happy birthday videos. Same thing on the sales side. We have those also syndicated. Thanks for stopping in, 120 days. You bought 2 years ago, payment's probably there. Your CRM knows a lot about your customers. You know when they have a car that's worth about $10,000. You can offer them that payment rehash that we all dream of when somebody walks in. Did you know? $330 a month. As effective as that is as an email, as a video email, it makes a lot more sense because you're actually communicating with that person. So I'm not asking you to pull out your phone and start making one of these for every person that bought a car 2 years ago and sending it out and committing 2 hours a day to doing it. If you did, you'd probably find success. You really would. But that's not even what you have to do. You have to do it one time. And you install it in the CRM in 10 minutes. And every single person that has bought a car 2 years ago, and once they hit that date, you'll send them this thing, hey, congratulations, last year, or 2 years ago, I don't know if you remember, I remember, you bought a car with us, I hope you loved it, I hope you still have it. By the way, if you do still have it, we're in the market for a high price, boom, right? We've all done that, you know the rest. So you can build these things into your CRM to the nth degree and have an unlimited amount of conversation with the customer. And not only that, you can tell based on what they opt into and what they click, what they want to keep talking about. So with video remarketing, you have the ability to say, hey, you watched a Fusion video, and when you build that campaign, you can build the list of people to anyone who watched your Fusion video. And then you can remarket through video specifically to them. So, when we talk about building a landing page, there's a lot that goes into getting it right. When you got a video, you can pull your GM out in front of one of these guys. It's like a $2,000 camera and have them spit out 20 messages in a day. You know what I mean? Just do a little bit of diligence and write down what you'd like those messages to be, and then bam, you got them. If you can't get your GM out of the store to talk to one person, tell them there's 1,000 people waiting in the service area. See if you'll get them up. So your digital presence doesn't talk about why to buy from your dealership, just what you sell and how much it costs. And that sounds easy to sell, but just, everybody's got a different website. Take a minute, picture yours. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Is there much on there that really says, whoa, 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 that's great, you want to buy a Fusion. But let's talk about moi. Because most people are afraid to change the conversation from the car. But on the lot, that's all we do, right? Steer the conversation, steer the conversation, steer the conversation. So this is just an example. I know a ton of people who talk about YouTube. How do you optimize? Oh, YouTube, I get my searches, dominate this and that. I guarantee you there's quite a few dealerships that have paid a vendor to video conquest for them, which means they are showing up. They're showing up first in weird places and all over the place, right? And then people go, well, I wonder what this dealer's all about. And then they click on it, and this is what they show them. This right here. Cars, no banner, no ad. How can you be so interested in one side of it and so disinterested in the other side of it? It doesn't make any sense. So your YouTube channel has an opportunity to function as a secondary website. What I did here, this was actually made for a client. I kind of stole this yesterday for the presentation, but on the right is ours. So you have a main video that you're pitching there, that bigger one. Do it with the mouse. This guy. So this could be the buck stops here sort of video, about us, why to buy from us, testimonial, whatever you have as your strongest pitch, right? Then you get your 3 most relative, and then you can actually build these entire playlists. Now, this is literally like, open source information. I hope you guys didn't pay to hear this stuff. But people don't do it, so I feel like I should bring it up. We're talking about 5 or 10 minutes to optimize your YouTube channel. How can you spend thousands of dollars? I mean, dealers lose perspective a little bit, but thousands of dollars on optimizing and then that's what it looks like out the other side. And I bet you 80% of the people in here don't know what their YouTube looks like. It looks like that, trust me, because that's what happens if you don't optimize it. But it doesn't take your own marketing company to move things around and put them in the right spot. That's, YouTube, believe it or not, makes videos on how to do that. And the best part is, unlike what happens when you get in touch with vendors, things don't break and need fixing in the real world. You put something on YouTube, it's going to stay there, it's going to work. And there's no more issues or bills that show up later. Your remarketing strategy either doesn't exist or doesn't attract buyers back. So I'm actually glad that I thought I'd be almost done by now and I was going to have to skip this. And in fact, I ran a little short. So you guys are going to get the full bore. I was going to try to save this for more of a whole nother presentation because there's a lot here. I was just talking to Joel about it and he's using some of the same thing. It was what I was talking about earlier with YouTube remarketing. there's almost no limit to how effective this can be. So let me just show you a sample campaign here. Every one of those bubbles is a video that we created for a dealer. That's sort of our basic campaign. When we have two crews, one that makes the syndicated stuff that's already produced that we put plates on, and we offer that, one dealer in each market from each brand. Once it's sold, it's sold. Then we have a custom video where we have people who are showing up in a dealership, taking keys out of a testimonial's hands in the morning, staying late in the service department, all that stuff, right? So that's the sort of program that we do when we do a custom series. We go in, we do a new car department video, a used car department video. From time to time, we do a service video, but a lot of dealers opt to leave that out for some reason. Then we have what we call brand statements. So department statements are an overview of everything that happens within your department. Why that person should buy anything from that department. We're fast, our inventory is clean, it's laid out well. We don't have just a lot of cars, we have a great variety of cars. Whatever your thing is, right? Keep it under 2 minutes. Keep it under a minute 40 if you can. New car, used car, do those every time. Then we have what we call brand statements. Statements of brand are statements of value that you feel are specific to your dealership. Anybody that's here, I should be able to point you in a hurry. What does your dealership do better than anybody else? And everybody here should have an answer on the top of their tongue or come up with one. And that's your opportunity to basically make it sound like every one of these things you claim is your thing. So you can show your passion for your detail department by having somebody talk about what they do to the car each time and showing it as they do it. We call it visual narrative. And our videos we've made 1,000 2-minute videos in the last year alone. So if you ever want to see what any of these look like, I got 40 versions of every title up there. Hey guys, at this point in my presentation, I got into some questions with some of the dealers in the room that wanted to see some examples and some videos, and there's not a clean place to end this, so we'll just end it here. If you have any questions or if you want to see any examples of the work that we've done in the past, you can find all of it on our YouTube channel, and it's laid out so that you can spend some time and do your homework about What's Next Media. Thanks for watching.